Hello, good evening. Excuse my tired face. The baby has been struggling because he's growing and he's going through this period of learning all sorts of shit, and he's not sleeping at night, which makes fun for mummy. But yeah, today is World Mental Health Day, and I haven't posted all day because I wanted to speak to you personally about mental health. So if you're logging on, just say hello, wants to speak about mental health, and I can say hi and see how you're doing. And if you have suffered from mental health, just put in the comments and let me know what problems you have had with mental health, how you have dealt with them, and whether they've worked. Hi Yolanda, how are you? Check out my tired face. So if you're logging on, just say hi so I can say hi back. And if you have struggled with mental health, then come and speak to me. Let me know what you have struggled with and what you have tried and whether it's worked. I personally have struggled with mental health. I've had postnatal depression and I have had anxiety after my firstborn was born. And as well, ever since I was a little girl, I've always struggled to connect with the rest of the world. So today we're not going to name and shame the problem itself. We're just going to talk about it because this is the problem with mental health. People struggle to talk about it. They end up being quiet and they end up lonely and going down the path that is not healthy for them, mind, body, and spirit. So when I was a little girl, I struggled a lot with connecting with a lot of people, my family, friends, anything. I've always ended up with just one friend. And what I've discovered as I have grown older is I actually struggled with depression as a young girl, as a child. And how do I know this? Is because there was a lot of detachment from everybody else around me. And children do suffer from depression and anxiety quite a lot. And the thing for me, so I'm just going to share with you my opinions on mental health, depression and anxiety especially. There are a lot of other different types of mental health that people can suffer with, like psychotic disorders, that being a serial killer, that is a mental health disorder. But we're going to talk about the one thing that certain people would really like to have control over, anxiety and depression. From my point of view, depression is brought on by when you've got a lot of questions in your head and there's no answers, and you're afraid to ask those questions, and you end up not having those answers, and you end up in a loop. So the first thing is you've got a question, you don't have answers, and you're afraid to ask those questions, and you still don't have answers, and as well, not being emotionally attached to the feelings that you've got. The society that we are brought up in says to us that we should never show emotion, we should never show feeling. We should keep it all hidden and be strong and power through everything and just power through everything and just be amazing. But nobody ever actually challenges the fact that emotions and feelings are good. Those things build us up. Those things are brought on by our hormone receptors in our bodies that are made physically in our bodies. And those hormones have got to be active for the rest of your functions to actually be able to do what they do. So if you avoid your feelings, if you avoid your emotions, you leave yourself bereft of feeling and attachment, and then you end up detached from society, from the people who make your life vibrant. You end up detached from the vibration that makes you the person that you are. You end up detached from the one thing that will bring the tribe of people that will bring you up, and you end up lonely and on your own. So depression is a very, very bad, vicious cycle. I hope you can see this picture behind me. We meditate in this house, and a lot of people are scared of meditation. And it doesn't mean sitting around like this and going, No, it doesn't. Meditation can be anything that allows you to focus your mind on something that takes your mind away from being scared of the thoughts that are going on in your head. So, for instance, I struggle a lot with falling asleep. When I want to fall asleep, and there's so many thoughts going on in my head, like setting up my business, like meeting new people, like the children are not feeling well, or they're not sleeping, or they've played up, or I didn't like the way I spoke to somebody earlier today. All of these thoughts are going on and they're stopping me from falling asleep. If I allow that to carry on, I end up in a state of pure exhaustion where I never ever sleep, and I have now got insomnia. But what I do for myself to stop that happening, and that is a mental disorder. Insomnia is a mental disorder because your mind should be allowed to switch off and to rest and to give your body a time to reboot. So what I do is when I go to bed, I just put my hands on my sheets and I feel what every single finger is feeling, temperature, the roughness of my sheets or the softness of my sheets in every single little finger. By the time I get to finger number 5, I would have fallen asleep because I've allowed my mind to have all of those thoughts just run through freely in my head, like they're just in a quantum space area and they're just free to do whatever they want. And whilst they do that, I am concentrating on the feelings that make me happy and ignite a certain sensation in my body. And that then takes away the chances of me having insomnia. It is the same thing with depression. When you don't challenge the emotions and the feelings that are going on in your head and in your heart and in your soul, because we do have a soul, and that soul is one thing that a lot of us are really, really scared to be in contact with. But listen to me, when we die, there is a part of us that leaves the physical body. That is the soul, and it needs looking after. That spirit needs looking after. And the more you avoid confronting it and just being in touch with it, you will end up detached with the world around you. Now, I've touched upon this before about the vibration that allows us to be in contact and connected with the people around us. We all need to have our minds acting at the right frequency so that we can attract the right people, the right abundance, the right lifestyle to make us feel alive and feel ready to take on the day every single day. When you avoid what your soul is doing, its vibrational frequency that your mind thinks at, when you avoid confronting the thoughts that are in your head that allow your mind to explore just who you are, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you angry, what makes you really, really emotional, and what makes you the person that you are, when you avoid all that, you leave yourself detached from the vibrational frequency that allows you to connect with the rest of the world. And when you don't have that connection with the right people, you feel lonely, you feel isolated, left on your own on an island, and then you feel like you are not part of this world. And then depression literally gets you, it grabs you, and then it pushes you down until you cannot get up, right? It is very, very important every single day when you wake up and you're not feeling good and you're not feeling right within yourself, to go back within yourself and challenge those feelings and emotions. Ask yourself, what is really making me feel this way? Do not be afraid to just breathe and go, oh my goodness, my mind is thinking about that one thing that happened a few weeks ago. And I really don't want to be attached to the feeling that I had because it makes me feel cringy inside, or it makes me feel scared and anxious. But it's okay. It's okay. I know what it is that is making me feel like that. That thing has already happened and it's past. It can only happen again if I allow it to happen again. Today is going to be a good day because I know what's going to stop me. But I won't let it stop me because I'll just let my mind stew on what's going on. But I will concentrate and I will focus on the things that make my life move forward. I hope that really makes sense for you. My favorite monk, Dandapani, if you look him up on YouTube, he speaks about concentration, about focus, and how the mind can go wherever you choose to let it go. Depression is a mental health issue. If you have got no sort of idea of how to focus your mind on the things that push you forward, depression will always have a hold of you. I have suffered really badly with depression and anxiety. Anxiety, the way I see anxiety is a massive fear of something that your mind is telling you it's going to happen. Whether because it's happened before and you've witnessed the effects it's had on you and the people around you, or because you've seen it happen to somebody else, whether on the news or in a newspaper or your neighbors next door, or you were walking past something and it happened and you saw it and it put the fear of God in you. Anxiety is a massive fear on something that you do not want to confront and say, is there a probability that it will happen? And I'm going to be honest with you. There is a probability that it will happen. There's a probability that anybody can walk out of their house and get hit by a bus. It is a probability. Nobody knows when anything is going to happen. But when you don't confront yet again those thoughts, that fear, and understand it for what it is, and say, okay, I am fearful of certain something going to happen, but I can't let it stop my life going on, because I have got things to do that make me happy. And I am going to power through, and I'm going to let my mind work at a vibration that only allows the good things to only come to me, not the bad things that I'm scared of. I really need you to understand that the mind is a powerful tool. As human beings, we probably use about 10% of our minds in our day-to-day lives. The rest of the 90% is lost in the things that we don't want to think about and we don't want to confront. I have suffered really badly with anxiety when I had my firstborn, because my mind was really focused on how small and how little he is. If you've had children, you will know just how tiny and precious they are. And when they look at you with those big eyes and they don't know anything and they jump at every single sound, my mind noticed everything he did. And my anxiety went from here to shooting up into the universe, to the point where I was sleeping with a knife under my pillow, because I thought every single night I went to bed, I thought somebody's going to break into my house. And if somebody breaks into my house, there's one person I need to protect, that little baby, because they can't protect themselves. And if I get hurt by whoever breaks into my house, I can't protect that little baby. Any bad thing can happen to them. There are child abusers in the world. They exist, they are there, and I wish they weren't there. But I have been ever so scared of them. Even today, when I was taking my children out to the play gym, and we forgotten the pram, Thomas's pram, in Daddy's car, and I ended up carrying Thomas. And when we got to the big town, I took him out, and we were walking hand in hand. And then I had Aria, and my children are 2.5 years apart, and then 1.5 years apart between the first to the last. So they're quite small, and every part of me was going, do you know they're child snatchers? You are holding 2 children in your hands. What about the third one who's walking on his own, either in front of you or behind you? What if somebody picks him up? You can't run after him. What if they come at you and there's 5 of them and you can't protect your children? What are you going to do? Your heart is going to crumble. And I could have stopped, and I could have said to myself, do you know what, kids, let's get the taxi, let's get back home. We're not going to go to the play gym. Let's just go and hide behind our door like we used to, because my heart is pounding and I really need to keep you safe. But then where would their life be? What would I be teaching them? They would be anxious every single day. They would be worried every single day. They would be scared every single day. They would be struggling every single day. And I would just become nothing, and they will become nothing. And the point to us being here would be nothing. So I had a word with myself and said, yes, child abusers are there. Child snatchers are there. The probability of it happening is probably 50% chance of it happening. But you know what? I know what I want for today. So I am going to let my mind focus on where we're headed, so that we can actually get there, because only good things and good people are going to be in my path today. And this was my mantra the whole time I passed through Huddersfield. Even speaking about this now makes me feel like crying, because this is the reality of anxiety. It brings you down, it puts you down, it keeps you there. Unless if you can fight against it and you can say no, because I've got things to do and I've got somewhere to be. And it's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. I used to sleep with a knife under my pillow. And I've gone for therapy for years. Ever since 2012, when my son was born, I have been going for therapy. And my last CPN left me last year because she said, you're doing absolutely fine. I got to the point where I couldn't leave the house. My oldest really gets anxious because this is the behavior I taught him. I would walk through town holding him really tight and saying to him, stay right close to me and walk really fast because there are dangerous people around us. And this is what he knows. So every single day now, ever since I've come out of this, I spend my days really focusing on teaching him to understand that he has got roots, he is grounded, and he is safe and well looked after, well nourished and looked after. I hope you can see this picture behind me. In my household, we meditate. Meditating does not mean sitting around, and it means focusing your mind on the things that are going to make your mind vibrate at a frequency that allows you to get the good things that you want in your life. If you suffer from depression and anxiety, do one thing. Get a book, get a pen and paper. Every single day you wake up and there are thoughts racing through your head, 100, 1,000, whatever mileage they're going at. Write them down. Even if that thought is a swear word, write it down. Even if that thought is, I really need a wee, write it down. If you really suffer from severe depression and anxiety, really be in connection with your mind if you want to take control back. I don't like using the word control when it comes to the mind, because the only way to be able to be connected with your mind and to allow it to be the way it's supposed to be is to not try and control it. Now, depression, in my opinion, is when you don't have answers to the thoughts that are racing through your heads. But you can get those answers by actually being in connection with your head. And if you do meditate, if you've ever heard about the chakra genie method or opening your chakras are literally pancreatic glands in our bodies that allow hormones to be released in our bodies. And when you meditate or you eat in a certain way to be able to open those chakras or those receptors that allow your hormones to be released, you allow yourself to be human and to be connected and to be in touch with the fact that you are rooted. Number one, that is the safest way to speak to yourself, is to always know that you're safe, you're protected. You have got roots, you come from somewhere and you're going somewhere. And number two is you are a creator. Everybody is good at creating something, but you've got to speak to yourself to find out what you're good at creating. And number three is you're nourished. And when you are nourished, when you are fed or you are looked after and taken care of, given things that make you grow and make you expand and become beautiful, you give the same back to the universe and your tribe follows you. And number four, the heart chakra, is that you're loved. This is my favorite chakra, because when you open that one, when you know just how loved you are, and you look around you and you see all those people who love you, who are just so willing to give you things without you asking, you give exactly the same amount back, sometimes even more, willingly, unconditionally, without ever actually thinking that you are losing anything. And then number five is your throat chakra. Now, this is where a lot of depression and anxiety comes into play, when somebody cannot speak about what's going on in their head, in their mind, and in their soul. Your throat chakra allows you to open up, to speak out when something is good or something is bad or something is just like amazing. And it also allows you to hear the rest of the world, to hear the messages that are meant for you to grow up to be the person that you should be. This throat chakra is really important. When you can open up that chakra and you can speak and you can be heard and you know that you are safe and protected and nourished and loved and you can speak out as much as you want, you know, your chances of being in depression for a very long time become less and less. Because then you have got a gateway of letting all of those crazy thoughts that are going on in your head, letting them out and letting the world just see your beauty and accept you for who you are. And then chakra number 6, that's your third eye chakra. Your intuition, your sight into where your life should be going. And it's very, very important to have sight, because when you don't know where you're headed, where your road is going, how can you step out of the door and start following that road? So it is very, very important to have really great intuition, to really see where you are headed in your life and where you need to be, so you can have a drive that makes you get out of bed and be amazing. And then number 7 is your crown chakra. That is your mind, your connection with the rest of the world, your connection with the universe. A lot of people really, really struggle with understanding that we are connected, mind, body, and spirit. We are connected with the thoughts that we speak. We are connected with the thoughts that we allow to be handled by our heads and to stay in there. There's a guy who does videos on Facebook who speaks about the fact that I speak, therefore I become. The words you utter from your mouth are received out there by the rest of the world. Not through video, not through music, there is a vibration that goes on around us. You know, the same thing that makes dogs bark in the middle of the night when there is nothing there. They can hear frequencies that we can't hear. And our brains can hear frequencies that we can't hear, because our minds and our ears have become so disconnected for years and years with all of the bad media that surrounds us. And when we are not connected and when we are not aware of the fact that the things that we speak and we allow to circulate in our heads allow us to follow our path and allow us to be connected to the people who are going to bring us up and allow us to be amazing and to be divine beings within this universe that is full of trillions, billions of stars, and nobody knows where it ends. And there's only one you, and you have got to be who you are. It is absolutely important and beautiful to be able to be who you are. Because when you know who you are and you're always holding yourself down and the thoughts in your head are bringing you down and keeping you there, you can't get out of depression. Medication does not fix the problem, right? Tablets, pills, they don't fix the problem. They numb the problem. They numb the vibration that goes on in your nerves, in your senses, that allow you to step out and be amazing. Medications are just a means of keeping the noise down. But I always challenge that the noise should be allowed to be as vibrant and as loud as it should be. Because who wants to sit in a corner and say, there's so much noise in my head and I'm so numb now, I can't hear it? So whose noise do you want to hear if you don't want to hear your own noise? Who is more important to you in the whole world if you're not going to be important to yourself? You have got to be absolutely important to yourself. And obviously there's a lot of fear that is attached to why we end up staying depressed and anxious. I know, because I have been there. My fear was attached to the fact that I was feeding off those negative hormones that were keeping me down. And I was feeding on the fact that if I stay behind my door, then I don't have to worry about anything else. But then one day I woke up and I realized that my life had become nothing. There was something else bigger than me, something else that I've always thrived and wanted to do, and that is to help other people and to be there for other people. So in order for me to be there for other people, I had to be there for myself. So I had to be selfishly selfless and look after myself. And then there is the big fear that, if I pursue transforming myself and looking after myself the right way without going the medication way, it's going to cost me a bomb. It's going to cost me this. It's going to cost me time. It's going to cost me energy. But how much is your depression costing you? Your problem is not the time, the energy, or the money that you're going to have to spend to find your transformation. Your problem is with the depression, the actual problem that you've got. And now if you want that to go, you've got to find your transformation wherever it lies. You've got to find the one person who speaks to your heart and to your soul. You've got to find that one person who, when they open their mouth and they say certain few sentences to you, your mind starts going excited and going, oh my goodness, I can do this because this person is right in my tribe and they've got my vibration and they are pushing me to do what I need to do. So in our lives, we are pursuing, material gains, big flat screen TVs, big cars, amazing shoes, clothes, makeup, the things that make other people love us for the things that we have rather than the people that we are. And when you do that, you lose your self-sense. You become just a materialistic person who is loved only for what they have, not who they are. And then you are still lonely. The loneliness still prevails because you are not being truthful to yourself. In fact, when you find your transformation and you actually realize, oh my goodness, if I sell the stuff that I've got and go and find my transformation, go on a journey, explore the world, meet monks all over the world, or meet musicians all over the world, or speak to the one person, a coach who's going to help me become who I am. I am actually going to become greater than what I was yesterday. That TV that I'm going to sell in my living room is not going to matter much when I've got a home theater and I am living up to my vibration and my standards, and I am making a killing and allowing abundance to come into my life and being me and being able to get everything that I've always wanted that I don't even have to clutch onto. Really ponder that thought. Really, really think about it. Anyway, I really hope everybody who struggles with depression, anxiety, mental health issues, I really hope you find your path and you find your way and you bring yourself out of that. And you realize just how beautiful and amazing you are. And I really hope that this life is enough for you to fight for. And I need you to remember one thing. We have got a finite amount of time on this earth. Once that light is switched off and we are gone in a casket 6 feet under, there's no chance to do it again tomorrow. There's only today and to do things today. And as well, yes, Yolanda, exercise helps too. It allows your cells to work and to send information to your brain, and it allows your brain to be active. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Yolanda. Yes, and we have got a finite amount of time on this earth. And once that time is gone, there's no chance to do it again. The only thing that is infinite in this world is time, but we don't own it. It belongs to the universe. It belongs to the world. It belongs to the planets. It belongs to whoever created our world. There's a knock on my door, so I'm going to have a go. I'm going to go now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please share it so that everybody out there who suffers from depression and anxiety can get the help that they need. Good night.